The Science of Geopolitics. This map shows the geopolitical distribution of energy. The term political science is propaganda, as politics is a system of population control, utilising lies and extreme violence. This is not science, it is bullshit. If you look at the link provided, you will understand where we're going with this. Geopolitics must be examined using the scientific method in order to understand the evolution and status of the global human community, the civilization and the societies. As in all scientific studies, we start by establishing axioms from the Big Bang until now. We use the model of time being expansion and humans being electrochemical organisms that have evolved into our present condition. I once produced a document called Can the World Think? Can the Earth Think? Based on the results I recorded during surveys over cross-country pipelines. This I built into the training centre that I built in Guararema in Brazil, and everything worked as I had hoped it would. The next link is to another scientist talking about technology and how it creates lies and propaganda. Each of us has our own body to study and understand. This will enable us to review the impact that the Epstein Files have on geopolitics, because that is all about making human bodies into propaganda in a very unnatural way. Sex is a natural function of the human body that enables reproduction of our species. Religion and politics has weaponized this by brainwashing us with shame. From birth we are taught that naked is wrong, that we should cover up. We are told that copulation is dirty and that masturbation is bad for us. Science does not confirm this. The next link will help you to understand the direction we're going. We are taught that some smells are bad and that some are evil. But the sense of smell is a biological input to our brain through the sensors in our breathing system. Dogs are electrochemical organisms that react to smell in the opposite way. When they sniff shit, their tails wag, indicating that they like the information their brains are receiving. We must be scientific about all of this. Shit is regarded by most people as disgusting and to be removed as quickly as possible. However, the recycling of shit is a valuable agricultural necessity, and it's necessary to prevent mass starvation. Let's be scientists. In China, history includes the Century of Shame. That was in fact a drugs war waged by British, French and Dutch empires. This was extreme geopolitics that murdered millions of people. Drugs are chemical compounds consisting of molecules structured in a way that reacts to the molecules that compose electrochemical organisms such as humans. The study of corrosion, decomposition and energy transfer provides the scientific bridge that is biological and technology. Corrosion science commands humanity that relies on energy to actuate the structure that accommodates and communities that are evolved. Geopolitics is not governed by man-made rules-based order. The world is too big for that. It is commanded by the universal laws of nature. This picture shows lines drawn on maps that represent areas that have been defined by humans, by groups of people who've won wars, so they draw a line on the map. This is not natural at all. Time is money. Money is money is a token of value created by activity that takes time. I want that to sink in. I will repeat it. Time is money. Money is a token of value created by activity that takes time. Currency can be created in an instant by pushing a key on a computer, and therefore currency has no value. The pound sterling was used in contracts between moneylenders during the period when Britain had an empire that spanned the world. Such trade was backed by fear and extreme violence and murder. The internet allows us to gather data and information. Communication devices allow access to the rules and regulations that control each human constituent of this world. Human effort was captured by slavery system, and that evolved through capitalism to rule by the military-industrial complex. War is pollution. And if you look at this link, it will explain in detail the effects of the shockwaves of a nuclear bomb. This means that any nuclear explosion wipes out all electronics within the range of the shockwaves. So power lines, cars, washing machines and computers, mobile phones and the internet cease to work. Planes, bombs, guns, tanks and anything with stored energy would explode because the shockwaves would detonate the unstable chemical molecules The United Nations, and before that the League of Nations, made rules based on meetings of the winners of the two wars with the stated intents, never again. But in reality, they wanted to prevent the losers from ever rising up against them. This map again shows Moldova, which is just lines round an area of the world that humans have labelled Moldova. The people that live within that area believe that they live in Moldova. They in fact live in the world. New lines were drawn on maps after the wars, creating new countries such as Ukraine, Israel, Syria, and others without the permission, agreement, and sometimes without the knowledge of the inhabitants of these areas. Constitutions were written, and they acknowledged the lines drawn on the map. In other cases, such as Yemen, there were changes in governance that were not shown on any maps used in geopolitical decisions. In Yemen, for example, the local people are well organised, scientifically advanced and industrially capable. They have their own oil industry, well organised cities and organised and established agriculture. Yemenis have been traditionally employed by Saudi Arabia as security guards because they are fearless, disciplined and loyal. I know this because when I was in Saudi Arabia we had a Yemeni guard who everybody respected and the Saudis liked. This is Yemen. This is just an area of the world, and as you can see, it's quite extensive. Fake news and propaganda must be ignored and understood to be manipulative with the intent to divide and rule. We do not have to obey the laws of nature. We have to discover them, study them and structure our lives around them. Only then can we build a future that is sustainable, intelligent and alive in every sense.